fellas, it's been a while, but I'm here once again with yet another review, and it's another food-related fidget. I've just been starting to realize how many of these I have. Just a few. Anyways, I wanted to do a video on the Cashews by GAO because I think these things are very underrated. Maybe not so much the magnetic ones. I can see why people don't like these, but these mechanical ones are slept on. So what actually got me into fidgets and into this shape is this one right here. This is the magnetic Cashew version 2, technically. So these are both version 2, but basically this one has uniform magnets, as in the strength on both of these sides is the same. This one has half strong and half weak, basically. And I got this one because of the color. And that's why I keep both of these, because the haptics are different. But this is what really got me interested in this shape. I feel like you're either going to love it or hate it. But especially with the magnetic ones, it like curves into your hand so naturally. That's why I liked using these. And especially this dark red one is very quiet. This one, not as much, but it's still quiet compared to what you're about to hear. Then he had the mechanical version 1, which I don't have yet, but he made it in stainless steel and PEI, titanium, and then 2 different zirconium finishes. But these are loud. And this was a lot louder when I got it. I guess I should start with the fact that these are not at all how they come. So this is the Cashew Pro. That's what it's called. And this is supposed to be the Cashew V3. And it's 3-layered, but this has a story. So I got one of each, and basically this green body was on the Pro internals. So the way these work is, how can I show this? Not on this one. So if we get my knife, because this is what I need. First of all, these are held together by magnets, and that's how you access the ball and spring in this thing. We'll do that in a bit. But with this transparent color, you can see that there's another track hidden behind here. So basically all of these parts are pressure fit. So you can essentially just pry them apart like that. And then if you do the same to this side, if we take out the ball and spring, which is relatively easy to do, just make sure it doesn't explode. Then you have that middle track with the ball and spring. And then these 2 pieces are also pressure fit, so you can swap on the Pro from, well, it comes in paragraph. You can swap from paragraph to dense. So the problem was that the Pro I ordered, the reason I have it in green is because you order it in a random color. So the random color I got was green. And it comes and I'm like, that's really nice. But it was set to dense by default. So I'm like, I want to try paragraph. I want to see how much louder it is. Then I took it apart, and I can show you without taking it apart. You can't really see the detents in there, but essentially this one came with both sides being dense. So I was like, that kind of sucks. I was going to run it in dense anyways because it's quieter. But then I was messing around, and I'm not going to do it. But the way, when you take this V3 apart, it has this middle layer in there. So I essentially stuck it together like this and tried to start sliding it. And I lost one of the balls and springs because there's nothing stopping it anymore from popping out. So then I had to get really creative, and I took a ball and spring out of one of my other mechanical sliders because I don't have a ton of extras or anything. And essentially I created a fully dense V3 and then a transparent blue Pro, which doesn't exist. This one currently is running a glass ball in it on the dense track. You can have 2 balls and springs on the tracks at the same time, I believe. At least that's what it looks like you can do. But I'm only running one. Now what I do want to check out, we're going to take this V3 apart, this customized one. It's a little harder because you can't see through it, but you just keep your finger above here so it doesn't explode. What am I rocking in here? Let's see, we got a glass ball. So I would assume I'm running a glass ball on both sides, and I'm going to check. And when you're putting it back in, you just press down on the ball and spring and slide it in there. So let's see, glass, and I would assume this is glass as well. Yep. So the same spring weights, at least approximately, they're very close. And a glass ball on both sides. And it makes this really unique sound. My mom heard it and she's like, why does it sound like frogs? And it's kind of funny because it's green too, so I really enjoy that setup. And the Pro isn't bad either. It sounds more basic. It is pretty loud. But yeah, these are really great. The Cashew shape in mechanical form is very satisfying, because if we take a normal mechanical slider, the up and down is nice, but this shape that curves into your hand like this is very satisfying. I really like that. Now these magnetic ones, these are more divisive because I either see people love them or absolutely hate them, and usually it's the latter. People don't really like these at all. I can especially understand why with this blue one here. If they all come like this, it's not quite as nice having weak magnets on one side and then really strong ones on the other. But that shape is still nice. There's not really much to say about something as basic as the Cashews. I just think the shape is really nice, and I enjoy how the magnetic ones are quieter. Except the problem with these is that it's just magnetic and it runs on, you know, a track with balls in it. So if you play with this the wrong way and it pops apart when you're not at your desk or somewhere where you won't lose the balls, you're kind of screwed. It comes with a lot of extra balls, but still, something like this is a lot better for when you're out and about. I guess in theory you could drop this like that. No, but in theory you could drop this and have it explode and this track mechanism comes out. I don't really think that's likely though, to be honest. So these taught me that you should definitely, if you're able, mess around with balls and springs in your mechanicals. I'm trying to remember. So the original V3, this comes with one side running paragraph and one side running dense. So that's one thing. If you don't want to use both at the same time, the V3 won't really be for you. I thought it was kind of cool, but the reason it worked so well and it wasn't like ear-piercingly loud is because it came with, I have the ball in this other slider. It came with, where'd it go? Here it is. Came with these little black balls, and I think these are silicon nitride. I'm not positive, but from what I've seen, that's what it looks like. I put it in this PEI rebound slider because it's quieter. So it came with weak-ish springs and then silicon nitride balls, and it was just one side paragraph and one side dense, and it was really cool. But then, like I said, I've lost one of the balls and springs, and I had to get creative. So for a while, I was running this one with the silicon nitride ball, but I like the haptics better with the glass ball in here on the dense track. It is louder, but putting a silicon nitride ball on a dense track in this thing gave it almost zero haptics. which can be nice, but it was a little too weak, especially for how loud it was still. If it were a lot quieter, I think it would fit better, but this glass ball in here feels very nice. The Pro is under $20. I think I paid around 17, 18. The V3, definitely under 25. I think it was actually around 25. And this one is unique even in the default setup. I think having half paragraph and half dense is really fun. If you wanted to copy this setup, you could get 2 of these V3s and swap it so you have one fully paragraph and one fully dense. But then you're getting to like $50, and at that point, like, why, to be honest? But for what they are, they're really nice, and especially because I got this unique setup going on. But buying these both separately, assuming they were default setup, I still think it's worth it because they're different experiences. In theory, you should be able to swap this between paragraph and dense on the default setup. I don't know why mine came with 2 dense tracks. That was weird. I don't know if all the random color ones come with 2 dense tracks, but they should come with 1 dense, 1 paragraph, and I think they're supposed to ship with the paragraph side installed. But I do remember this was a lot, and I mean a lot louder stock with these tops on it. I don't remember the ball and spring combo, but it was extremely loud. Oh, that's right, because this one came with, let me see if I can open this up again. This one came with 2 balls and springs installed. That's right. Yeah, see, because there's 3 holes in here, so you could run it with 1 or with 2. I guess you could technically do 3. That would be crazy. But yeah, this came with 2 balls and 2 springs inside it, so it was extremely loud. Like, I'm talking literally, like, unusably loud. This is a lot more tolerable, and it's still very loud. The V3 is a lot more mellow sounding, and it feels really cool when you have it with 2 different tracks, like I've said before. So really, if you're into mechanicals and you don't mind louder stuff, I definitely recommend these. Especially if you get both the Pro and the V3. Even if the colors look wacky, you can mix and match parts to do somewhat of a thing that I did. I really like how I was able to make a, a blue Pro, and then now this sounds like frogs. So yeah, I'm really pleased with these. The magnetic ones, I think, get too much hate. I think this blue one is like 25 to 30 now, so it's not worth it, to be honest with you. However, it does get too much hate. I still like these. I still use them sometimes. These both have different haptics. I wish I could figure out how to tell between the revisions because, honestly, I like having the even magnet strength more, and this one's just quieter. These also have clickers on them. So yeah, the Cashew shape is fantastic. I recommend it. I think it's underrated. So go ahead and pick one up. Try it. And if you're so inclined, the stainless steel V1 is, I want to say, $60. But the problem is you can only run it with the paragraph track. You're locked into that. All you can do is change the ball and spring, and that's that. But yeah, let me know what your guys' favorite mechanicals are in the comments. Let's start a conversation. I've been really getting into mechanicals. I like them a lot. Thanks for watching. I'm glad to finally be back, and I'll see you guys next week.